in 1956, we started with a group up there and came down to the falls and started portaging. And back in those days, the horse wranglers, packers, would come in there and fish for salmon. There were lots of salmon. And when they'd catch a salmon, they'd tie it up by the tail, but they'd keep it alive. Because when they got ready to go out, then they'd knock it in the head and pack it out, and it would be reasonably fresh. Well, right where we were pulling our boats in, here was a big salmon tied up, here at the top of the falls. And most of them, they were snagging them. They weren't hooking them in the mouth, they were snagging them. But here was this great big salmon, it's probably 30 pounds, tied up, a rope around his tail.
A Chinook? A Chinook salmon? Or?
Yeah, a big Chinook, yeah. And that rope tied around his tail, and he was in the water there. Well, we were taking the boats around, and all those guys started helping us. Gosh, I thought this is just great. All these big stout cowboys helping us get these boats around. Pretty quick, somebody noticed that salmon was gone. That salmon was gone. Somebody cut the rope.
Oh, no.
And I thought we were going to have a big rhubarb.
Yeah.
Somebody
I
in your
mean,
party.
these guys were ticked off. These guys, somebody had cut that fish loose. Well, we had one fella in the trip, a name of Barney McPhillips, and he was a banker from McMinnville. He loved to run his own boat, but he didn't trust himself enough to take his wife, so he had a guide hired to take his wife. And, but he's a real diplomat, and he likes good whiskey. And I went to Barney. I said, Barney, can you blow a fifth of your good booze on these guys here, and try to patch this up? And he said, don't worry. He said, I'll take care of it. So he got a fifth of his good booze out and said, fellas, I'm sorry about this. The sharp edge on one of our boats must have cut that salmon off. but let's have a snort. Yeah. And he passed that bottle around, and they polished that bottle off. And those guys felt
a little bit better.
pretty good about it. Oh, she said, I'm cold. I said, I know that, but get dressed. She said, have you ever tried to get into a cold bra? And he said, no, as a matter of fact, everyone I ever got into was warm.
I think you're talking.
I remember one night why they said, Barney, you must have a lot of friends. Oh, he said, I do. He said, I've traveled the world over. And he said, I have friends everywhere. And he said, they said, well, how about Barney? Do you have any enemies? He thought for a moment. He said, nope. He said, I've outlived the bastards. That was the year that Whitey Cox was killed. And we didn't get a chance to stop at Whitey's, our camp there. It's got a nice hot spring in it. But Whitey came in there in the early days, deciding he wanted to mine. And he blocked that hot spring off quite a bit, so it would build up in a pool. And then he had a head gate, and he was digging a trench around the hillside so he could run that water around the hillside and then run it over a flume and come down over the sluice boxes. And he had a real nice camp. He had a small tent with a bigger tent stretched over it, and really a nice snug camp. And there was an old game warden by the name of Osterheide. He used to make a circuit down there, and I don't know why they would have him in here back in those days, because nobody in here. But he came by one day, and he said, hey, next time you come by, bring me a carton of cigarettes. The game warden came by there in about a week and brought him a carton of cigarettes, and Whitey wasn't around, so he went into his tent and threw them on the table. He came down to the Flying Bee and stayed several days, and on the way back out, he stopped to collect his money, and Whitey wasn't there. So he looked around, he found Whitey, but Whitey got killed in a cave-in there, in a cave-in on his head. And so he had to get help to come in there to get Whitey out of the rock slide and get him in the ground quick. But I walked up there to that spot, and there's still He had a red bandana around his head, and there was still some skull and hair and stuff like that. It got him in the head. He didn't suffer. But we've been out there for a week in this hot sun.
Well, Dave, when we watched you go through some of those falls and some of those rapids, it was just like poetry in motion.
Effortless.
Just effortless move that.
I've been practicing.
Yeah, you've had a bit time.
I think to this day he is still the best boatman I know. It amazes me.
Okay, I think we have dinner ready, guys.
I hope you're right.
So,
Thank you, Dave.
Okay.